Something big just happened in the Bitcoin world. The largest corporate Bitcoin holder in Asia just made a move that could reshape the entire Bitcoin ecosystem in Japan. And this was one of the main drivers for this push that we see last week. Now, this company did one thing. They just bought Bitcoin. They bought it aggressively. But now they are doing something much, much bigger. They're not just buying Bitcoin anymore. They're building the financial system around Bitcoin itself. And if you understand why they're doing this now, it tells you a lot about where the crypto market is heading in 2026 and beyond that. The company I'm talking about is MetaPlanet. We can see the news over here. We're talking about MetaPlanet. It's a publicly listed company, if you look over here, in Japan that adopted the same strategy used by MicroStrategy but in the United States. Instead of holding large amounts of cash, they began holding Bitcoin as their treasury reserve asset. And this logic is very, very simple. Cash loses purchasing power, as you know, because over time, governments print more and more of it. And when they're printing more money, this is making their own currencies weaker. Bitcoin has a fixed supply, as we know, of 21 million coins, which makes it resistant to inflation. And MetaPlanet has been extremely aggressive about the strategy that they're doing. Today, they hold um, they hold more than 35,000 Bitcoin, making them the largest publicly listed Bitcoin holder in Asia. And now they are taking this strategy to the next level. On 12th of March last week, the company announced the launch of a new venture arm called MetaPlanet Venture. They are committing roughly $27 million to fund Bitcoin infrastructure over the next few years. And this money isn't coming from outside investors, it's being funded by cash flows generated from their Bitcoin business. Bitcoin is literally funding the creation of an entire Bitcoin startup ecosystem. And this venture will focus on three main things. Invest into companies building Bitcoin infrastructure. And they will invest into things like Bitcoin lending platforms as well, custody solutions for institutions, Lightning Network payment systems, derivatives, and investment products. Also, compliance tools. Second, they're launching a startup incubator to help early stage Bitcoin founders in Japan. And third, they're funding a Bitcoin grants program supporting developers, researchers, and educators that are building open source Bitcoin tools. Which tells us something very, very important. MetaPlanet isn't just investing in Bitcoin itself, they're investing in the future ecosystem around Bitcoin and around all of this. The first investment that they're doing will go to JPYC. JPYC issues a Japanese yen stablecoin, meaning one token equals 1 yen. This is critical infrastructure right now because if institutions start using Bitcoin more heavily, they need stable coins to move money quickly without dealing with Bitcoin's price volatility during transactions. And stable coins are a very hot narrative right now. And they act like the financial rails. Who is here today? Thanks for the info. Welcome. Who am I talking to? Hi, YKH. Thanks for the info. You are so welcome. Okay, so why is this happening? The timing of this move that they're creating is not random. Japan is expected to reclassify Bitcoin as a regulated financial asset by 2028. That would allow banks, institutions, and investment products to interact with Bitcoin much more directly. The only problem that we are facing right now is that most of the financial infrastructure needed for that shift doesn't exist yet, the infrastructure as such. We don't have large-scale custody platforms, we have limited lending markets, and underdeveloped derivatives. So Metaplanet is trying to build everything before this wave arrives. And if they succeed, they could end up owning a major part of Bitcoin financial ecosystem in Japan, and overall, the Asia markets would be more driven towards crypto. Okay, we'll have a look at Bitcoin shortly and the charts. Let's see if you guys have any questions, anything that you want to ask. We might keep this live stream pretty short, but in the future I'll try and make it a little bit longer. Answer any questions that you might have, anything that comes to your mind you want to ask me, just drop it in the comments and we'll pick it up. Bitcoin, if we look at it, we had a very good pump over the past week. As you can see, we broke above this consolidation range for a second time, but we had a very massive rejection candle over here. So the markets are still not decisive. We see buyers stepping in, then immediately sellers are very strong, defending this strong resistance level over here. Hey YKH. And if we look at the overall markets, we have obviously altcoins retracing right now, and I would say if you have the opportunity, you have to keep buying the discounts, because this year is the year of accumulation. We have not reached probably the bottom yet. We can see a lot of theories for people claiming that the bottom is in. Others are saying that we're going to have one more leg down. So the only strategy that would you can benefit from is the dollar cost averaging. So keep buying on the dips. Whenever we retrace, is Bitcoin, let's try and pull this comment up. Is Bitcoin in the 50s possible? It is very possible, because if we follow the previous bull cycle, let's go back to the other chart that I've got over here. If we compare this to 2022, let me just open it up. If we do this comparison, you can see now okay, let's look at it. So if you look, the top was here back then. Do you think Bitcoin will... Okay, I'll answer this just now for a second. Let's finish first with the cycle. So last cycle we topped around over here. Then if you see, we're now this year, back in 2025, we had the top over here in October. So if we just follow this, we are moving in exactly the same pattern. And even back in 2021 and 2022, we had the double top, which we can also see here. In 2025, we saw exactly the same trend. We had one top, Bitcoin retraced, and then it went back up. And now we're having, and back then we had exactly the same pattern. And if we follow this exactly the same way, we are so far purely following the same strategy, the same pattern. You see this here? Then we go down. Here we have a small pump. Then we went for the second leg down. And right now, we so far are following the pattern exactly the same way, one to one, as the previous cycle, exactly in the same way. And over here, we are now after the second leg down, which is over here, and I've marked it, we are here, if you see on the chart. And we have another leg down to make, which would bring us down here to this yellow zone that you see. I've written down bottom zone. Let me just bring it on the left hand side so you can see that better. I'll try and improve my setup as we move along. This is my first time being live, so as we move along, I would make sure that this is more visible and easy to follow. Okay, so would bring us down to this bottom zone, which is the previous Bullrun. This is the zone where we had to break above. This is a strong resistance level for the previous cycle, and this time this is turning as our support. And crypto loves doing that. It loves creating ceilings from previous cycles, turning those into floors in this upcoming cycles. And this is exactly what we see. The only difference is that in the previous cycle, we didn't have institutions yet, we didn't have ETFs, and we had a drop of around 80%. This time, I don't expect us to see a drop of 80% for Bitcoin, just because we have now institutions, we have big money, and they won't let the market drop so much, especially Bitcoin. But I think we probably, if we see this drop, if we see, let's say, Bitcoin dropping to the 50k level, let's put it on the chart, this would bring us to around 60% drop, which is reasonable to expect. That if we drop to 49k or 50k, that's a 60% drop, which is very reasonable to expect. But nobody can time the bottom perfectly, and I don't recommend you trying to find the exact bottom. Just keep buying. We're already at very good discounts. Bitcoin has dropped 50%. If that's not a good discount, then what are you waiting for? It's already sitting at very cheap price. It is undervalued at this stage. So I recommend using the dollar cost averaging strategy and keep buying as the market goes down. Let's see what's the other comment. Replaced pinned. Do you think Bitcoin will at least double by end of this year? Yes, I would say I expect, maybe not double. I expect us to, by the end of this year, for us to return to the all-time high, around the 120k levels. This is what I expect to happen. Double is a little bit too much. And I'll tell you why. Because now we have this war that is ongoing for more than 10 days. We don't see the impact of this yet because it is still ongoing, but we see oil prices are already going up. This will obviously have impact not just on oil prices, it would have impact on transportation, on the overall economy, on food production, and other sectors of the economy. And we are not seeing this yet, but we will definitely see this over the upcoming months. And my theory is that what is happening, this war is one reset of the financial system, similar to the crisis we had in 2008. USA will crash everything, the economy will crash, they'll say, oh, we can't, we are in a very bad situation, and they would want to stimulate the economy, and that's the so-called reset. Then they will start printing money. This is what I personally see happening. But talking about, if you say, yes, but actually it would be basically almost doubling from the current price, but not, double the top. If we double now the 70k level, yes, that's reasonable to expect this. I think we'll be probably close to what we reached this year. The bottom might be in, Let me pin your comment as well. The bottom might be in. Depends on if there is another catalyst. Stock market is crashing. Yes, the stock market is crashing. Yes, I think we might see the potential crash. As I said, the economy is going to be impacted very badly from this war, and we are likely going to see. Uh, this is the bottom that I'm talking about. Bitcoin touching the 50K levels because of the impact of the war. But then this would USA would need to stimulate the economy, and this is going to be most likely by printing money, which would drive us into the expansion phase. But then we rip. That's very close to what I also expect. Going to 42, 46 would be healthy. It would be healthy, but I personally don't think we're going to go that low. Potentially 49 is possible, like 48, 49 to 52. That's my bottom range as well. But from the 60K levels to the 50K levels, I can see this is a clear accumulation zone. And if you can afford to buy, make sure that you are buying, because this is how you make money. When you have everyone giving up, when you have cheap prices, good discounts, and then you just patiently stack and wait. But Bitcoin, it never goes that. Do you think we'll ever break the multi-cycle resistance line for good? Let's go. Yes, let's go. We can see everything, but I don't think we're going to break below this cycle resistance line. If we do, nowadays we see, and that's the drawback of institutions being in the space, because they can manipulate the markets heavily. We can see a lot of manipulation. We can see things that we've not seen in previous cycles. This would be new, and that's because now we have ETFs and we have big money that can. You can simply see that by Trump, for example, how he manipulated oil in the past few days. Every day he is saying something different. He's saying we're gonna block this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna destroy that, we're gonna attack banks, we're gonna do this and this. And he is only talking because he knows he has the power to manipulate, to scare. Unfortunately, nowadays, words don't have any weight. Everyone can say whatever they want to say and do nothing. And this is what we see. Would you say, okay, that's an interesting one here. Would you say Solana will outperform Ethereum? Look, I am biased here a little bit because I'm a Solana holder. I love Solana. I have a pretty big bag of Solana. If you guys are on my Discord, you can see what I hold. But one of my biggest bags is actually in Solana. And if you want to join Discord, feel free, guys, to join. You can see what I buy, what I sell, when. You can see my portfolio. We receive latest news, anything relevant to crypto. We receive it immediately in Discord, which makes it very easy for you. You don't have to go anywhere else. You have everything in one place. We're also making regular trades. We're swing trading. We are one of the first buyers for new projects that are being released, and this is how we make money. Regular trades. Some of us are also trading meme coins, trying our luck, and you have very good community. You can learn from others. You can also follow me, and you'll find it very beneficial. You'll find links in the description of any of my videos. Now, if we go back to our charts, would I say Solana? Yes, I definitely think Solana. It might not outperform Ethereum in terms of price, but I am confident that it would outperform Ethereum in terms of percentage gain. Solana's roadmap is also very solid. They are working very hard, and Solana is one of the first. It's becoming with a lot of institutional interest. They are building stable coins being launched on Solana, and it is much cheaper and faster compared to Ethereum. And this is what institutions want. So definitely, I think Solana reaching $500 this cycle, and I have a pretty big bag of Solana. But of course, Ethereum is also a good one. I think that Ethereum can probably make 2 to 3x, but I think Solana has potential for more upside. That's true. Let's see another comment here. Could consolidate for many years and then just goes on a specular run. I don't think it would be left to consolidate for many years. I personally think that we can see that, for example, 2025, and in this bull run overall, only Bitcoin moved. Only Bitcoin made such a huge move from 69k to 126k. The altcoins didn't perform well. Money, if you notice the trend since institutions came into the market, money is mainly moving into Bitcoin and the solid 10, 15 projects on CoinMarketCap. If we sort them by market cap, money is moving in here in the top. Okay, top 10 is maybe a little bit not accurate, but I would say the top 100. Money is flowing only in these projects. The other altcoins didn't do well. And even those, they didn't do well, but compared to anything else, we saw money moving into XRP, in BNB, Dogecoin not so much. We have the new projects, Hyperliquid, the DEXs, which became a hot narrative, Chainlink, Stellar, Avalanche. Money is mainly moving in Bitcoin and solid layer ones. Okay, I think this is a valid comment over here. Let me pin it. Solana is seeing increasing institutional adoption. Ethereum is still further ahead. That's true, but that's the space to watch if you want to know if it will outperform more. Lindy effect with Ethereum still. I agree with your comment. Ethereum is ahead in terms of these are the two most solid blockchains that exist so far, Ethereum and Solana. And of course, Ethereum is ahead because it's been around since 2015, if I'm not wrong. Solana is a newer project, but I personally think that Solana is gaining more momentum because it's faster and it's cheaper. Ethereum is slow and it's very expensive. Look at the gas fees that you have to pay. But Ethereum has a solid roadmap, so it might actually perform very well, and Solana might not be able to outperform it. But both are solid. Whichever you decide to go for, you're in a safe place. I guarantee you that. Institutions want security and reliability first. Yes, I agree with this. Oh, faster, Dunker. Yes, that's also a good comment. Can you guys actually see the comments when I pin them in the chat? Or do they pop up on the screen? I don't really know how it works. I'm still, trying to explore. I'll try and improve as we go. Speed is more important, but when comparing seconds versus minutes, not a big deal for institutions because that's better than the current systems for sure. I agree with you. Yes, I see the comment pinned, but does it come on the screen actually? Because I don't see it. It goes on the top of the chat. How can it pop up on the screen itself? I'll figure that out. I have Solana staked. Amazing. Me too, but I keep buying. And I'll tell you one tip for those that are here. You can keep taking advantage if you want to swing trade. So what I have on my Discord is I may have one portfolio, not I may, I have one portfolio for long term, and also right now we're in a consolidation phase, and the whole this year we're probably going to be in a consolidation phase. What you could do is you can try and swing trade something that you have conviction is, whether that's going to be Tau, for example, Solana, or Ethereum. Buy and then sell on a regular basis so you can make money if you have the time, of course. If you don't have the time, you can join any group for anyone who does that and follow their signals, or you can just accumulate for long term. Whatever strategy works for you best. Yes, I see the comment. Okay, thanks. I think in the replay, I've seen on other streamers it comes on the top as well, but I'll try and figure this out. It's my first time now trying to come live stream, and I'll do it more often. Maybe tomorrow I'll come back with some updates for the week ahead, some news. Today we spoke about Metaplanet that's expanding its Bitcoin strategy, something very big. You can guys watch the replay if you missed this part. And that was one of the main reasons why the market pumped as well, of their new strategy, and they keep buying Bitcoin heavily. What do you think, guys, in the upcoming week? Do you think that we'll push Bitcoin, investors would push Bitcoin above the 74K range, or it would retrace back to 65? We have this clear consolidation range over here. If you can see on the chart, now since January, we've been going in a very clear pattern within this rectangle. 74 is the top, and we have 62 as the bottom of this range. And we see how Bitcoin keeps moving. Now we went up to the upper part of the channel, 74K, and we had a very long rejection candle yesterday, Friday afternoon. Now we are retracing back. Do you think we're going to reach to the low 60s, or we're going to break above that on Monday? Let's see what you guys think. 50K soon. Really? You're already predicting that? Well, we spoke about this. Bitcoin 50K soon. It is possible, and there is a lot of indicators that are telling us this is the next target. A lot of indicators. But I don't like equities this year. It's clearly breaking out of the consolidation. Well, it is, but it does it for third time. We had it at the start, we had it over here, and now we have it again. But sellers are very strong at this floor over here. Immediately price was pushed. If you can see this long wick over here, it's telling us that we have a lot of sellers, and price is clearly failing to break above that. I think the stock market is crashing. Yes, stock market is crashing. I got Metaplanet open here, but once oil pushes, you think oil would go to 140, 150? Oil will bring everything down. Yes, I already talked about the impact on the economy of what is happening right now with oil and this war. You can watch it in the replay, but yes, this is one of the reasons why I think 50K is coming in the upcoming months. Because what is happening now with oil will have major impact not only on oil prices, it would have on food production, on transportation, everything, a lot of sectors from the economy. And that's actually, we're going to see the impact in a couple of months' time, not immediately. Well, oil has been trading like a meme coin. It went to 120, dropped to 80 in a single session, $80. So it's moving very, very fast. It's being very volatile. But if the war ends, which I think we are coming closer to it, because we see Trump now trying to find a reason to, he already said something like, we targeted all the targets that we had, I think 6,000 targets that they had in Iran. They already targeted all of those, and they see that Iran is not falling. They're holding pretty strong and they're ready to continue this war. So I think Trump is a little bit backing off at this stage, which might put an end of the war, and oil prices will probably crash when that happens. I have a large cash position. I have a large cash position right now, and I'm looking to trim more equities on a bounce. Even my commodities fund, which I'm heavily in, did well on. Yes, commodities did very well. I think 2025 was the year of Bitcoin and commodities. 400 oil, low liquidity market. Venezuela oil will help USA. It will, yes. Now they're targeting Cuba as well. A lot of things are coming up. Very true. Yes. Okay. I think I'll keep this live stream short. Hey, Philip, welcome. How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you, Phil. I think I will make it regular. Those live streams will be regular from now on. I'll put a clear time so you know when I'm coming live next and what we are going to discuss. I'll make it here as a post on YouTube so you have awareness and you can watch now the replay. 30 minutes is okay for today, and tomorrow we'll have longer one, more interesting. We'll go through some news. We'll see how Bitcoin is trending and what is our setup for the week. You can now go and watch the replay. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you again in the next stream. Thank you. Bye.